The new Callaway PARADYM irons look absolutely gorgeous, but I've got one problem with them. We are here at Gray's Golf today in the southeast, and we're going to test out these PARADYM irons, joining the PARADYM Metalwood family. There are two models of these PARADYM irons, the PARADYM and the PARADYM X. PARADYM is the more of the player's iron, so we're going to focus on that today. It's more of the flagship model. With the GC quad here and using the Callaway Chromesoft X golf balls, we're going to find out a few things about these irons. There's a lot to like about it. We've got this forged 455 face for something really impressive feel, and they use AI technology to make sure it's their purest, fastest face yet. But what I really like is we've got this dual tungsten weighting on the back of the head as well, which is supposed to improve forgiveness, and it's up to I think 67 grams on the PARADYM, so really, really heavy in terms of comparing it to other irons. This is going to help a lot for the CG, the MOI, and making it as forgiving of a player's iron as possible. With it being a player's iron, I wanted to inspect the lofts, and they are strong. 29 degrees for a 7-iron, which is what I've got in my hand today, means that it's not a 7-iron, but we're going to have a look at some spin and at the descent angle and just see what it feels, because the price is what stands out to me. It is up there with premium, the Apex, Mizuno Pro, P790s. Annual release iron, should it be that much? Let's have a look. That's a good start. With it being a forged 455 face, I'm expecting it to feel great, really solid off the face. Now, good ball speed there, but that spin is low at 4,500. It's not just the head itself, but wow, a player's iron getting 4 to 5 iron spin is not great, but it's not just the club that does that, it's the shaft too. I mean, they feel great. And I'm going absolutely miles, which we're not really too surprised by. A 217 yard 7-iron is too far, but that spin is also too low. The question you should ask yourself, as I just bring up some average data here, is those are really good numbers apart from if we're looking at that total spin. And you can see I'm actually hitting the ball pretty well with the 7-iron so far, so happy days. Descent angle a little low with the peak height as well, so we can see that perhaps it needs to be a little bit fine-tuned for my swing, but this is a player's iron, absolutely. But when we're talking about a player's iron, we're going to have other irons coming into play. What are those? Well, they're the ones that cost the same amount, which are things like the TaylorMade P790s, another hollow body iron, very similar to this, about 1.5 degrees weaker in lofts, so perhaps the P790s are for someone who swings it a little bit faster, the better player. But for the price that Callaway are advertising the PARADYM irons for, there are some tricky questions that are coming into play, because being an annual release, they don't have as high of a reputation as some other irons that give a 2-year release. I think the P790s, the Mizuno Pros, the JPX 921s, 923s are held in a little bit of a higher stead because they're on a 2-year cycle. They're not getting replaced every year, they're actually getting upgraded every year. Wow, God, I suddenly shanked that. I nearly shanked that, but we're still getting pretty good dispersion overall. And I know I've mentioned the spin being pretty poor, but the spin's actually consistent. So that there was really poor. If I show you guys where that was probably about there. So on other clubs, such as some MBs, I would be probably on the floor crying. But that, we're seeing 4,500 spin, fairly equidistant to what we've had before, and ball speed only dropping by about 5 miles an hour. So for a club that is a player's iron, does have quite a thin top line for a player's iron, but still oozes that of forgiveness. It is giving me some pretty consistent numbers across the face, which is good. Pushed it, but I mean, the numbers are up a little bit better there. So a jump from 128 to 137 in the ball speed, which is very far for a 7-iron, too far. But the spin going up to 4,900. So the spin between 4 to 5,000, which is pretty good for dispersion overall. It's not deviating that much from mishits and center strikes, which is really good for a player's iron. We want something that's consistent. We don't want something that's going from, let's say, 4,000 to 7,000. We want something that gives you consistent ball flight time after time, which is what's happening here. The 7-iron seems pretty good. Let's move up to a longer iron and see how they perform as well. The 4-iron, of course, rather strong loft, but in terms of looking down at it and the progression from a 7-iron, it's not actually as much as you think. They are pretty even to each other, and this is actually something that I feel like I could game in the longer irons. Pants. Absolutely awful. So out of the toe, and That's gone pretty good for a shot that was really out of the toe. That felt good. It felt really good. Looks to be launching a little bit too low, but no one's ever going to complain about that of a 4-iron going. Pummeled that, just went over the top of it slightly. That's carried 245. It does feel, that feel that you're getting, that solid feel is throughout the set. It's not just from the 7-iron. I would say that they are a little bit harder to hit when you're going into the longer irons. You get quite a lot of feedback from them, because I've been hitting it out the toe and out of the heel, and you can feel that. So they're nothing like, let's say, a TaylorMade Stealth iron, which is more of a game improvement. This certainly is a player's iron with perhaps slightly stronger lofts than they should be. But the key point that I would mention here is just how solid that feel is. Overall numbers though are really positive. You can see the spin is still a little bit low with the descent angle kind of likening to that, being a little bit too low launch, low spin, but getting really good ball speed numbers. That's a lot faster than PGA Tour level, and carrying an average of 236. I'm never going to complain about that at all. But you can see with 20 yards of run out, that wouldn't be something that would be ideal, because if you're 230 yards away or so, you're not going to be able to hold a green on the par 5 at all. Consistency wise, let's just put it over to a green now as well and just see how I can get on hitting 5 or 10 shots or so with a 9-iron. If I can get the same number over and over again, because I have noticed a little bit of deviation for the 4-iron when I'm hitting it out of the middle. I want to see if that's consistent across the set. Good start. Very good start. You can see the descent angle is a lot higher now with those shorter irons, being able to get that to actually stop despite it having a 6,600 spin, which is that of a 6 or 7 iron. That's another good looking shot. A little bit left. No, don't you dare. Don't you dare. That's going to be a fun up and down, isn't it? There you go. Out of the toe, heavily out of the toe. But it's actually okay. I mean, we're going to take a green when I'm nearly missing the grooves, aren't we? Carrying that one, gone down 5 yards, and spin obviously a little bit lower as it was out of the toe. Catch a piece, catch a piece, catch a piece, nearly. But again, 164, so we're getting about a 10-yard gap there for across the face, which I think is actually pretty good, because this isn't straight out of the sweet spot. The sweet spot is about 172, 173. That's a good one to finish. It's just coming round. I think that should be the best one there. Yeah, that stopped pretty much dead on. A really nice shot. That was out of the centre. A little bit too far, as we'll see, of the carry of 173. Because the spin's a little bit too low, it's not really going to spin back, is it? So something to keep your eye on there. But consistency is certainly a really positive aspect with the PARADYM irons. But I still can't get my head around the price. If you're wondering what the Callaway PARADYM irons are, they're a soft, stable feeling iron that produces consistent numbers throughout the set. The looks may not be for everyone. I personally really like the blue and gold colour scheme. It is maybe a little bit too chrome, which sometimes looks a bit cheap. It certainly is not cheap though, with an RRP of £1,199. You can see in this testing that I've got along really well with these irons, and I do think they can rival that of the P790s, Mizuno Pros, JPX 923s, Cobra Forge Tech, those premium players irons. We haven't seen anything from the Callaway Apex range this year. I'd like this to perhaps be added with it for a hollow body players iron that goes very far. You can see with the 7-iron going 210 yards, 4-iron going 250 yards, and the 9-iron going about 175 to 180 yards, it goes a long way and it's extremely consistent. Guys, let me know what you think of the PARADYM irons, because here at the testing at Grays Golf and outside, I have gotten along with them really well, but it's just not a 10 out of 10 for me. I think it's probably about an 8 or a 9. If you are new to GolfMagic, guys, smash that subscribe button and click the link down below to find out more about the PARADYM range and also more about Grays Golf, where we've been filming our product reviews over the last few weeks. I'll catch you guys in the next video.